Hello, my friends. This is Amner Hunter from amnerhunter.com. Happy to spend some time with you on this video. This time around, I want to share more about this topic. I share a ton of free stuff here on the channel. I am always looking for free things that I can share with you to help you in your music production journey, in your music creation process. But I have noticed, and you guys have been telling me quite often, that you are not making enough music. I think we are consuming a lot of information and we are also consuming a ton of tools, but we are not actually releasing or making new music. That's why I created this video around this topic, and also there is a free resource waiting for you. I want to talk more in depth about this topic in this video. All of the applicable links are going to be down below in the description and first comments, and also I leave you some timestamps as well for you to move around between the mini segments of this video. Before we dive deep into the content, my friends, remember that I have some freebies for you on the website, additional stuff. I have some free PDF guides and ebooks about mixing with free tools, also about productivity in your home studio. I have some other free tools available at your disposal, such as a huge collection of guitar impulses, a brand new drum sample pack for rock and metal, among other utilities. And finally, don't forget to check out my blog and this channel, which I'm updating weekly with tons of free content. So let's get straight into the video. Alright, so how to make more music in 30 to 60 minutes a day. I know that we are practically in the same position, right? Sometimes we have some other jobs. Music is not our profession. Music is not our way of living 100%. At least we make music and we work in the music business maybe as a side hustle. When it comes to creating our own music, we don't have a lot of time available, right? Because we have other responsibilities, we have families, we have our jobs. That's why I created this guide that can help you out definitely to create more music with very, very little time in your day. By nature, we humans are procrastinators. We leave all the time things for later. We don't finish projects. We always leave things unfinished. So in this guide, I wanted to show you some of the process that I am gonna be following to make more music, right? To force myself to make more music this year and for upcoming years as well. So let's start here. Set deadlines for your next musical release, right? This is very important. And by deadlines, I mean, you don't have to create something that it's unreachable. You have to create something within reason, a deadline that you can fulfill, and start with the end in mind. For instance, if you're gonna create one song in 1 month, which is the example that I'm using here, start with the end date in mind. If you are gonna create something by the 30th of March, for instance, you start from there and you go backwards. What's the process that needs to be done on the last week previous to that end date? And then what is the process behind the week before that third week and second week and the first week, so on and so forth. Deadlines are very important. They are gonna keep you accountable in some way. You're gonna have a healthy amount of pressure to create something, right? And we see this very often. Deadlines are a way to limit ourselves, limit our time to make something productive. You can also take the example of professional bands. They have a release date for their album, right? And that doesn't mean they have the album finished. It means they are putting themselves that deadline to release their material, and in that way they work backwards. So next, break down the deadline in smaller chunks. You can get overwhelmed with a big goal, like release an album or something. But if you break down an album into songs, for instance, and one song into processes, you're not gonna be overwhelmed with all of the things that you need to do. For instance, if you're gonna release one song in 1 month, you can maybe set aside some time on the first week for the composition maybe of the song, and then week number 2 will be recording week, then week number 3 will be all about mixing, and week number 4 will be all about mastering and the artwork, publishing the song, and releasing the song, right? So in that way, in one specific week, you can focus only in that particular task that you need to do, and you are not overwhelmed by all of the things that you need to do. Next, another thing very useful is to redeem the wasted time during the week to complete these tasks. So how many hours you spend a week in social media? How many hours a week you spend on Instagram, watching YouTube videos maybe? You need to shorten that time definitely on things that are not making you produce music. How many hours a week you spend watching movies or series on Netflix? I'm not saying stop consuming, I'm not saying stop watching videos or something, just reduce the time and use it to make music, because we are never gonna have time to make music. We have to create the time. We have to create deadlines and limits and boundaries for ourselves to create more music. So calculate the time that you spend online and wasting time on endless feeds in social media, stuff like that, and use it to make music. Produce more than you consume, or produce as same as you consume. Also, some additional tips when creating music. I suggest you to have a cohesive sound if you are creating an EP or an album. You know, when you create an album, it's like a snapshot of your life during that time, a capture in time of what you were feeling at the time, your skills at the time, the tools that you were having at the time. So have a cohesive sound if you're creating an album. It means use the same tools throughout the songs that will create a cohesive vibe for the listener. The journey from start to finish when they listen to your record will make sense for them, right? Also, another tip here is to try something new. For instance, you introduce a new instrument to your songs. You introduce maybe a new song structure, you change something in your workflow perhaps, and this can inspire new ideas and make things flow better. Also, let's talk about how to overcome writer's block. This is a very important topic, right? If you come across the writer's block, don't think of yourself as a producer that it's not good for the job, a musician that is not good for the job. Don't take it personally. It means that you are a human, and as every human, we struggle with things. We struggle when creating, because creating is a process that involves a lot of creativity, and sometimes our state of mind is not in that workflow or something. If you have had or have right now writer's block, you are just a human. It's normal. It happens to everyone. It happens to professional musicians. It happens to every human being on the planet. So the first thing here is to stop criticizing yourself. When you are creating music and when you create something, you are over criticizing you. You are saying things in your head like, oh, this riff sucks, or this melody sucks, this lyric sucks, or something. You are over criticizing your work, and you start to put yourself in this state of mind where writer's block, it becomes much more difficult to create if you are in this state of mind of over criticizing yourself. Just create something, it's better than creating nothing. Also, you might not have that best idea or that idea that will become successful or something, but you can start to build things with that foundation. You can polish things, you can change things and all that. Also, another thing to overcome writer's block is to listen to old music or new music. I think it's good to be influenced by the outside world. Some people think that you need to close yourself from the world or something to create music because you don't want to be influenced. No, you need to be influenced as much as possible, because the only way that you found about music, about playing an instrument or certain type of sound or something, is because you were influenced. It means that you heard someone else doing something and it inspired you to create something. Be influenced, there's nothing wrong about that. Actually, being influenced will help you make more music. All of those influences will be combined with your own personality, with your experience, so something new will come out of that. Also, another thing to overcome writer's block is to limit your choices. Limit your plugins, limit the amount of microphones that you have. It's very important because you're gonna limit the time that you set aside in the day to create music. Having too many options, too many choices of something can be overwhelming. It will be difficult for you if you are like in this analysis paralysis thing. One more thing that you can do to overcome writer's block is to revisit old projects that you have in your computer, right? How many times we started a song but we left it unfinished? Well, it's time to go back to those old projects, and maybe you can rescue some ideas. Maybe you listen back to those unfinished songs and you notice that, oh, maybe that's a great melody, maybe that's a great chorus that can inspire you to create something new. Another thing to help you to create more music is to use some free tools to create chord progressions. In this guide, I am giving you some free tools, free websites that you can use to maybe use some different chord progressions. There are also some free plugins out there that can help you out to create melodies or chord progressions that can get you inspired. Definitely, if you are out of ideas, these free tools can help you out, set the mood, and help you out to create more music. Some free tools that I recommend you, some free VST plugins. This is the Harvest Mini. It's a plugin that creates melodies, chord progressions, scales, and all that. Just by using this tap feature, you start to create things based on a certain key, based on a certain chord or scale. So it's pretty simple to use, and you can switch with this button the different MIDI notes. After this plugin, you can put any synthesizer, piano, or guitar, VST instrument or something. Another free plugin that I recommend you here is this Stochas plugin by the same company that creates this Surge synthesizer. This plugin also allows you to create chord progressions, scales. Here in this MIDI map, you put the notes. You can create a lot of different patterns in different time signatures. Very, very useful. I think it can get you inspired to create something. Also, another free tool recommended here is the calendar. Of course, everyone has one. In this guide, I am also breaking down my calendar as an example of how I am gonna be creating music for the upcoming months. Also, I am putting the link for you to create your own calendar, print it or something, to be able to create and commit to create music. So yes, you can have this guide absolutely for free. You can go to my website, amnorhunter.com/free. You are gonna be able to download this guide that I created for you, how to make more music in 30 to 60 minutes a day. In this guide, I go a little bit more in depth about all of this topic and all of these things that I talked about. Please let me know down below in the comments, what are your thoughts on this topic? What's your approach when creating new music? Are you overwhelmed with all of the tools that we have at our disposal right now for free? So thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it very much. I hope this has been useful for you. I will see you very soon on the next one. All right? Take care.